Double or Nothing from last Sunday. We don't have to go through every single match. We're not going to with this show because there was like 10 or 11 of them. Your overall impressions of the pay-per-view. I thought it was a good show. When you asked me the other day, I caught up on it later. We weren't watching it live, obviously. We were at NXT. Maybe I would have had more negative feelings about it if I watched it live. But listen, I thought it was a good show. I saw a lot of people saying it was a bad show, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I just don't really know what people were expecting. I mean, we said last week, I thought it would be a good to great show, but I'm not surprised that it wasn't a great show because the build sucked. And there wasn't a lot on the show I was looking forward to anyway. I said this on hashtag yesterday. When we watched Double or Nothing last year, I thought that show sucked. I thought that was one of the worst pay-per-views they've ever fucking done. Mostly because of the booking decisions and shit. There wasn't really anything on the show that I questioned, like, oh man, this was so stupid. There was just a lot of matches that were just kind of there. Like House of Black versus The Acclaimed, okay. Whatever. It went 15 minutes. I'm not really sure why it was that long, but okay. Whatever. Tony and Jamie, okay, whatever. Wardlow and Christian, I thought had a great match. The main event was what it was, Anarchy in the Arena. It delivered, I guess. It's not my cup of tea. And the Four Pillars match, that was very well wrestled as well. Cole and Jericho, that was kind of underwhelming, but I thought it was, I liked it for what it was. It's not a very eventful pay-per-view. Chris Statlander coming back, I liked. I know you didn't like that as much, but she came back and won the TBS title from Jade Cargill. I thought it was a great moment. Yeah, I don't know. I think people have come to expect too much from the AEW pay-per-views. They do have a higher bar than the WWE shows, but I didn't really have a lot of high hopes for this show. But I thought it met my expectations as being a solid show, an enjoyable show, and not one that I hated. And I thought all the booking decisions were mostly correct. Beyond that, though, I didn't really have much to say about this show. I thought it was just kind of good for what it was. What about you?
Yeah, I think it was. That All Out show a few years ago was pretty bad. It was probably
that was
up
bad
there.
too,
I thought
yeah.
it was one of the worst shows they've done so far.
Yeah.
I just, like you said, I think I agree with you. You're saying when you said you're like wasn't the greatest build anyways, but I feel like they've had other shows that didn't have great build and they had a pretty good show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt like the booking was, like you said, the person that won wasn't really like the problem with the booking, but it was just like every match had like this random interference, like people included, like it was all over the place. Everyone's on the floor. I thought, like even like the FTR that match, I thought it was it was a solid match, and then at the end we got like the whole like TNA Jeff Jarrett like smoke and mirrors, like Karen's hitting people with guitars, and Sanjay's getting thrown out, but he's still at ringside, like all that foolishness. And I thought the Four Pillars match was probably the best match of the night, but I think I think MJF's so much above all their level, it's not even funny. I would have just still done MJF and Darby one-on-one. I get why they did it, but I just felt like Sammy and Jungle Boy just seem like they're part of the Four Pillars, but at this point, they're just not on either. They're not even on Darby's level, let alone MJF, so I thought him winning was right. Once I saw the tax and shit for Anarchy Arena, I didn't even watch it. I'm all set. The exploding sneaker, no, thank you. I'm all set with that shit, so I didn't watch that. I was pissed Jade lost, just because, like I said, I think she has got stale, but I also feel like the booking of her, she's just beating job people. Every time she wrestles, she's beating, like, nobody's like, 59-0. It's like she hasn't even wrestled anyone. She beats Taya here, okay match, whatever, and then Chris comes back and beats her, like, in seconds. I don't know. That's, like, so, like, I don't know. If it was, like, a star, okay. I'm not a huge Statlander fan to begin with, but like, oh no, it's like if Goldberg lost some mid-card person in WCW on like that. It just, I feel like her losing there. Like, I'd rather build it up to her to lose than just lose in 40 seconds. Like, now what do you do with her? I think the problem with Jade and her booking is once she lost the belt, it's like, now what? I feel like she isn't the greatest in the ring. Her aura really, realistically, is that she was undefeated. Now, I don't know.
They needed her identity, yeah.
Yeah, her identity was literally the streak, and having the belt, like I said, she is really green still. She isn't the greatest in the ring. So now what do you do with her? I don't think she's going after the women's title because that's going to be the whole Outcast thing, and she's a heel anyway. So it just was interesting. We'll see what happens. Tater losing, I guess she's hurt. I would have probably went with an interim belt and had like an actual match. I wouldn't have just taken the belt right off Hayter. They've done it before, so I don't know why they would just have her lose here to Tony. I like Tony, but the whole Outcast thing to me I think it's awful, honestly. But I'm glad it wasn't Saraya to win, so I guess there's a positive in that. I mean, I guess she didn't win, so I guess that's good. But I think as a whole, I thought it was probably, besides that all-out show, it was probably their worst show they've had in a while. And probably the worst show they've had.
Yeah, I think to me, I hate to say it was a bad show. I think the word I kind of used to sum up this pay-per-view is inconsequential. I was not disappointed after we came back from NXT, and I watched this on Monday and then again on Tuesday. It was a long show, including the pre-show too. I was not. I wouldn't have been upset anyway because we enjoyed ourselves at NXT, and you're not going to change that. But I'm thinking, okay, I'm not. I didn't miss much. I wasn't spoiled. I watched the whole show without spoilers, but I'm thinking I'm not mad. I did not watch the show live because I mean,
I will say though, I think if I watched it live, I would have hated it more.
I agree. No, I agree. I think watching it after the fact helped because I was able to skip through all like the commercials and the bullshit and stuff like that. I mean, you skipped through some of the matches. I watched all the matches. Even then, it took me a little while to watch the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I like the show. Is it going to be one I go back and watch like we did the first one a few years ago? No, absolutely not. I think we said this, I think, last week. Is it not clear that their sights are set on everything else but Double or Nothing? They were already building towards Collision in a couple weeks. They had their mind set on All In, on Forbidden Door, on the Canada shows, on All Out. I mean, this show felt like a complete afterthought, and that's even more apparent now than it was a week ago.
No, I agree. I think they've been focusing on Forbidden Door, Collision definitely. I felt like you said, I feel like it was they had some decently wrestled matches, but like you said, not watching it live wasn't like I was heartbroken, and I think if I watched it live, I would have been even more pissed. So I thought it was a fine show, but I think they have their sights set on other things, and the show, I mean, I thought it was like their WrestleMania, but I guess Tony says they're all the same, I guess. I don't know, it was their first show. Usually it's like the biggest event, and I feel like the last 2 years has been their biggest dud of pay-per-views.
It was. I think it's been the worst show they've done in the last 2 years. This year, definitely. I mean, they've only had 2 pay-per-views so far, but this year so far, yeah, Revolution was a much better show. And last year, I agree as well. I watched that show at your place last year, and I thought, man, this show sucked. This show was not good for the most part. And then 2 years ago, I think it was a better show because it was during COVID and whatnot, and it was just a better show. But not this year. I am looking forward to the other shows. They will be watching the other shows live, and I'm looking forward to watching those live. This one, I didn't really have that much of a desire to do so.